Welcome to Business Talk, presented in collaboration with the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, from the heart of southeastern Ohio at the University of Rio Grande TV studio. Our goals are simple: promote the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, as well as advocate local small business and their support organizations. More importantly, promote southeastern Ohio as a wonderful place to live, explore, and learn. There are many different ways you can find us. The University of Rio Grande Cable Access Channel 17, live online at blogtalkradio.com, and on YouTube if you are unable to catch our show live. Introducing our co-hosts, Jason Winters, Mike Thompson, Patrick Dengel. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to our show. It's a pleasure again having you view a series of different shows on these Wednesdays here at the University of Rio Grande. Jason, communities are extremely important in the United States. Well, all over the world, I would imagine. And they do say that United States is one of the richest countries in the world. Mm-hmm. And that the people that live in those the different areas in the community are very thankful that they have some of the freedoms and they have some of the economic things that other countries sort of envious. Mm-hmm. And one of the areas that I am well aware of is that we're also a giving world, a giving community. And don't you think communities many times when asked will give back?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Mary Ann Campbell was on the show here a while back, and she kind of emphasized that. It's not about what you take, it's about what you give. That's
true. And it's our pleasure to have two representatives from an organization that takes some of the wealth of the community and disperses it to those that are growing.
And it's my understanding that one of our special guests today has known you her entire life.
Yes, it's my pleasure to introduce my daughter. She's my sweetie. Mm-hmm. My daughter and her co-worker, associate, Toni and Therese. And perhaps we can find out a little bit about who they are and the organization that they represent.
Personally, I'm waiting for the special stories.
Well, I cautioned Toni that maybe after the show she could share a few.
Or maybe that could be a whole other television segment.
Well, we don't want to get into comedy
Pat
yet.
Dengel bloopers.
Oh, she has a lot. But also Mike and Luke and you also could share stories back.
Oh, so. I'm sure.
And we're going to be having your son come on soon.
Good.
So
that'll be fun.
Yeah. But anyway, it's our pleasure to welcome two of the associates from Scioto Foundation. Scioto Foundation has been around for a number of years. It's my pleasure to introduce Toni Dengel and Therese Egbert. Both of them live in Portsmouth, Ohio. And well, let's start with you, Therese. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in Portsmouth, Ohio. I graduated from Notre Dame High School, and I went on to college at Shawnee State University. After that, I started working, well, actually during high school, I started working at Hillview Retirement Center. I was there for about 10 years. I moved into human resources position, and then about 6 years later, I joined the Scioto Foundation, and I've been there since April of 2011.
2011, yeah. Fantastic. And what position do you have?
I'm the staff accountant.
Ah, okay, so you're the money lady.
Yes.
You're the one that everyone is nice to every other Friday, is that right?
That's right.
That's the lady you want the autograph from.
Yes. Thank you, Therese. And Toni?
Yes, I've worked at Scioto Foundation for about 10 years now. My title is Program Officer Marketing, so I do a lot of the graphic designs and stuff like that for the business. So it's a pleasure to work with Scioto Foundation and all the fun things that they provide for the community.
Jason, do you remember our first time before we started working really intensely with Mike, how we used to do the blog talk radio and pass the phone around? And
absolutely.
And
those were good times.
Oh, the good times. One of our early guests was the director from the Scioto County Foundation, Scioto Foundation, Kim Cutlip.
I remember that.
And they were so impressed with the technology that through the help of Toni, they have a bi-weekly show on Blog Talk.
Well, good.
And their numbers compared to our numbers, they receive a lot of numbers. A lot of people that listen in on their shows, etc. And maybe we'll find out when their next show is and help. For the listening audience, tell us a little bit about the Scioto Foundation. What does it do? What's its purpose? On a general basis.
Well, what we do is, let's say there's a donor out there that has a passion for the Salvation Army. They'll come see us. They'll say, we really want to help them. We just don't want to give them, dollars for today. We want to think about it in the long run. So they'll come to us. They'll give us a donation, and we will invest their funds.
Oh, very good.
And we'll pay out 4%. If you talk to a financial advisor, they say typically you receive a 7% return. If you even if it's up and down, that typically there's a 7% return. So out of that 7%, we pay out 4%, and we're in for the long haul. A good example of awesome endowment is Jacobs, Rose and Augustus Jacobs. They gave us $1.2 million, and now I believe the fund is 1.5, or it's.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, it might be more than that, but would you say it's been around for 5 years, or maybe a little
before? I think it came before I started.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let some of the listening audience know a foundation doesn't take the money and then immediately disperses it.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
What they do is they put it into sort of a special account,
Yes.
an endowment,
Yes.
and then as the fund grows through interest and other kinds of investments, then you disperse that amount of money.
Right, and usually for the Jacobs Fund, there's about a $50,000 disbursement. So that's $50,000 in scholarships that are going back to the community. So if you look at it at the long haul, after 20, 25 years, the fund's going to be paying more out than the initial gift. And you can look at some of the information or the contributions that have been given. Roughly, let's say that we've received, $15 million in contributions since our inception, and we've paid out over $25 million. So there is a huge, if you're in for the long haul, it's a good thing, and it's more of like a retirement account for scholarships, nonprofits, and we're trying to really help the area we need to think about the future. We can't just think about what's going on right now.
That's true.
So what kind of projects is this foundation funding? I mean, scholarship-wise?
Scholarship-wise, we give away over $350,000 pretty much each year. We also do unrestricted grants in the community. Let's say the Red Cross is looking for money for disaster support. They'll fill out an application, the board will review it, and we have quarterly grant rounds, so they'll submit it before the deadline, the board will review it, and then they'll decide whether or not they can, if the funds are available to pay, and that would come out of the unrestricted funds. But we also have restricted funds where Therese will send out an annual letter saying, hey, this amount is available, and maybe you'd like to share about a specific.
If a donor sets up a fund, and let's say they have a certain church that they went to their whole life and they want the money to go to that church specifically, they can set it up that way, and then each year the church can get a disbursement from that, and that's what you said, the 4% we would give out 4% of that and send the disbursement to that church.
So suppose I wanted to start a business, would I be eligible for that, for any monies?
No.
No.
Unfortunately not. You have to be a 501c3. You have to have a 501c3 status, and there are, say, 501c3-4s, which is like the Kiwanis Club, Rotary. They can't apply for grants through us. So they would have to find an entity that they could work with in order to apply for a grant from us.
So, and the grant, been my experience that when grants go to nonprofit organizations, they don't necessarily cover everything. It's just a small portion oftentimes.
With our, since our dollars are limited and we want to help spread the wealth in the community, typically it's anywhere from $500 to $5,000 that we give an organization. Now there are organizations that we give more money, but there is certain funds that are sort of restricted, but they're more like donor advised kind of type of funds where they have certain, or more like field of interest where they have certain criteria that fits that program, like the Cricker health related is a good one where, you know, if you have a program like the hospital that wants to do some kind of like smoking cessation, it's health related, so we would be able to take funds from that. But we follow whatever the donor wants. That's what we follow to a T. We don't stray and say, well, we're going to be sneaky and take funds and do that because
people wouldn't trust you then.
Right. And we, you know, they were so kind and generous to give us the money that we want to, you know, be the best service that we can to these individuals.
You know, speaking of scholarships, you know, Jason, it's my understanding that your youngest is now in college.
Mm-hmm. He is.
And your oldest is in college.
He is.
And I would imagine, you know, because you're undertaking educational coursework yourself and doctorate.
I am.
That, is that how you got your gray hair?
It is. It's been an interesting conversation, Pat.
Yes. But I would imagine that your sons and you and many families are looking at that. Where are some monies to help defray the cost? Because let's face it, tuition
cost of education is expensive.
Yes, it is. And so let's talk a little bit about some of the scholarship programs that help. First of all, do you have to live inside a county to apply?
There are some scholarships. There's a Baker scholarship that's for paramedics that are in, I believe, this county and other counties around here, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But for the majority, if you go to, say, Shawnee, or if you are a graduate of Scioto County, those are typically, but we are expanding a little bit, and it's just people who are coming to us looking for scholarships, because we understand that it's very difficult and the cost of college has just grown and grown and grown, and we're trying to, you know, find a way to help these kids who really want to pursue their passions and do something with their life. And you know, we have a huge support group with our teachers through UCAN. Our executive director, Kim Cutlip, she came up with the idea of University College Access.
I think it's a great program.
It is a great program. It's kind of like Kalamazoo's program, but in reverse, where we don't have that $1 billion donor. But if anybody would like to give lots of money, we're more than welcome to accept it.
You made $1 billion.
Maybe when both of the kids get out of school and Dad finishes. Yeah.
As long as it's not monopoly money, we'll take it. Yeah.
But in essence, you have so many different scholarships. Like for instance, it's just not one general fund; it's many funds. Is that correct?
we do have many funds, but we also have the UCAN funds where we've worked with the schools, and teachers are just so wonderful. There's a lot of schools that are doing payroll deduction and putting funds into their schools UCAN fund. for a while, for 5 years, we did $500,000 in match money. So if a school was able to raise $10,000, we put $10,000 of our unrestricted funds into their fund. And how much would you say all the funds are? Or is it like 1.7
It's
million?
close to 2 million.
Okay.
It continues to grow, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're the one responsible for keeping track of where everything is at.
Right.
I admire anyone that keeps track of money, because it's an important aspect as a nonprofit organization. You have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt with the federal government.
Right.
There's a lot of responsibility.
Yes, yes. And how long has the Scioto Foundation been in existence?
74.
Since 1974.
Yes.
So we're looking at around 41 years.
Yep.
And that's a little
That
bit...
just seems like yesterday, Matt.
I'm still older than that. So, but, you know, it's the University College Access Network,
Yes.
correct? And it helps students plan, prepare,
and pay.
and pay
Yes.
for post-secondary scholarships or educational costs.
Yes.
So let's just suppose I'm a high school senior.
Yes.
And does Shawnee State's, like University of Rio Grande, do they have a program that allows us to go into and take some of the college courseworks? I believe they do, don't they?
They probably do, but we deal more with advanced placement. We help support teachers to go to Shawnee State to get their certificate. So the numbers have almost quadrupled in students taking advanced placement tests. Kim's been very adamant about, helping these teachers get what they need. We have AP mini grants where we give $1,000 to each school, and they can, pay for ACT tests for the kids or anything like that. And the Advanced Summer Institute, there is a $40 fee for Scioto County teachers, but for I believe it's almost $600 for any other teacher that wants to be a part of it, and that is July 14th at Shawnee State University, and that program is about ready to happen. I believe the June 30th is the deadline to sign up for the classes, but they offer, world history, art history, that kind of thing, and we really are looking for not only a college-going community but a post-secondary community, because we're hoping that a more educated community can make better choices and think about maybe opening up a business. So anytime that we talk to a student that might want to do like be a hairstylist, we might say, well, it might be a good thing to get an associate's degree in business so you can kind of think about the steps. How do I get from point A to point B? Because we are definitely in the long haul. We want kids to succeed, and we want our community to be as great as it once was.
That's true.
And that's one thing that is just fantastic about working with Scioto Foundation, is that it's so positive on the community. And if we weren't there, I don't know, a lot of our programs and nonprofits would be really struggling. I truly believe that they would be really struggling if we weren't there. So it's an honor to work for such a great organization.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Now, when we say kids, we're talking about the traditional students, the 18 to 22. To me, Jason is a kid. And Mike, and everyone's a kid.
There's more kids the older you get in there.
Yes, but it's just not to the 18 to 22 crowd, correct?
Right. We do have, we call them second-time learners, that do apply, and they do receive scholarships. We have a You Can Go to College night that's coming up in October. And that has, different reps from universities. You can talk to them. You can also talk to financial people. I believe Desco was there last year, and you can talk to them about certain things.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, you know, October 22nd. They will Scioto Foundation sponsors the Scioto Gives. That's October 22nd. It's a one-day matching gift program benefiting local participating nonprofit organizations. Each dollar that is donated, there's a matching dollar that will go in.
Yes.
And so what are the benefits of this Scioto Gives? What does it do?
It benefits the different nonprofits that have endowments with us. So we really want to build for the future, like the homeless shelter. This would be their third year of having a fund. We have an Acorn fund, which, you know, we don't take any fees up to $10,000. Once it reaches the $10,000 mark, then we start taking fees. But the homeless shelter, after 2 years with the matching money, has reached a fund of $25,000. Wow. So hopefully, if we keep on doing this program, we'll get great community support like we have in the past, and maybe they might be, you know, a $500,000 fund one day. And if, you know, worst case scenario, funds from the government don't happen or anything like that, they have that money to help individuals who are truly in need and need a place to stay. And the homeless shelter is, you know, just an amazing nonprofit that we have. Because
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, probably, the accountant has probably set up a couple easy ways to make donations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
That's correct.
And so one of the ways is by...
Well, with Scioto Gives, we have they can do it online if they want to by credit card. It is from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So after 8 p.m. the website is shut off. But even during those hours we're in the office, so anybody can bring checks, cash, we can accept stock gifts, life insurance policies, anything like that.
So Jason could bring a wheelbarrow. Now he has a number of goats on his farm. So here's an opportunity to share one of your goats. Would you accept goats?
I don't think we can take goats, well, unfortunately.
I tried.
Try to trade.
Yeah. So it's from 8 o'clock in the morning,
right,
till 8 in the evening on October 22nd.
That's correct.
And consequently, if you leave $1, then another fund will, or another source will provide another dollar.
Right.
And then they go into helping. So I think that's a very good program.
It is.
Yes.
So I know that you have a number of participating organizations that are with you. And those participating organizations are many different organizations, ranging from the 1810 House, the Friends of Scioto Development Disabilities, Ohio Valley American Red Cross, the Counseling Center. So I think that's really great.
Stephen Hunter Hope Fund is another one too, and I'm not sure if you're aware of all the wonderful things that Mark and Virgie do, but they actually raise money and work with the Cincinnati Food Bank to have a Power Pack program. So
the Power Pack program.
Yes, yeah, and they give kids who don't have any food to eat, you know, lunches and dinners, you know, at the end of the week to kind of tide them over, since they won't be at school.
I think that would be a very important thing for the community. You know, oftentimes most of the gift giving, or most of the giving to the less fortunate, really doesn't come from government. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't come from a special fund in the sky. It really comes from community people. And so I think you all need to be commended for what you do.
We may have some listeners that are listening today, and they're getting up in years and they're doing estate planning, how do they contact you, and how would they get more information about becoming a donor to the Scioto Foundation?
Well, our office is at 303 Chillicothe Street in Portsmouth, and they can also give us a call. The number is 740-354-4612.
Wait a minute, that's 740
354
354
4612.
4612. We older folks need to have it slower.
Yeah, I understand.
You brought some pictures. We only have about 2 minutes, but let's quickly take a look at some of the pictures that you brought that sort of capsulize.
Yeah.
You know, there's the
That's the Summer Institute, the AP. So it's July 13th through the 16th, not the 14th.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And that's a nice graph that you have there.
It's how the endowment fund works. Just, yeah, there's a little infographic about reasons, the difference, yeah.
And there we have the Clay Alumni Association, which they're donating to the Clay School.
Yes, their UCAN fund.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. And then that's from the college night. These are from the college night.
And I notice they're all smiling.
Yeah, and then that's from our scholarship luncheon, and Brian Stevens is actually a student at Rio Grande.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And there we have somebody in the Air Force.
Yeah, talking about college.
Fantastic. And some other happy people. So I would imagine all I have to do is come up to you and say, hey, I want a scholarship. It's that easy, right?
Yeah. And that is from the CERC program through the museum, Southern Ohio Museum.
That's a picture of you, isn't it, Pat?
Yeah, I think so. I could twist that way. Therese and Toni, I want to thank you very much for coming. I understand that you have a special new position, a lady that is going to be going out into the community, so we would like to have her back as well as you two. Unfortunately, we ran out of time for those amusing stories. So, but thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So, Pat, what's coming up on our future shows?
At 2 o'clock, we have technology. We have Mike Thompson. He's going to be talking with Kingsley Meyer and Dwayne Rigsby about some of the technology that is present. And at 3 o'clock, we have Estevan James, who's going to be talking with Tom Worley about Ecuador and aquaculture boot camp. Want to thank everyone for listening. I'm Patrick.
I'm Jason.
I'm Toni.
I'm Therese.
Thank you, and see you soon.